When looking at the competitive EDH Decklist Database, you might notice one very unique reserved list card. Living Plane is a 4-mana enchantment that makes all lands 1/1 creatures. Okay, so in a format that prioritizes low mana cost and high impact spells, why does this thing see play in cEDH? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the decks that play Living Plane to get some context for what it's meant to do. Living Plane sees play in 5 decks on the competitive database: Captain Sisay Adaptive Tutors, Sithis Enchantments, Marith Stacks, Kodama Timna Stacks, and Kenrith Stacks. Notice anything special about the 5 decks? All 5 decks list developing stacks as a significant part of their overall game plan. But there's more. All 5 also have green and white in their color identity, so we can establish that Living Plane sees play in green-white stacks decks. So what does Living Plane provide for stacks decks? Well, all 5 decks also play Linvala, Keeper of Silence. Linvala stops the activated abilities of creatures, including mana abilities. So if Living Plane turns all lands into creatures, Linvala stops them from activating their abilities, including mana abilities. This means your opponents can no longer tap their lands for mana, but you can. So Living Plane is part of a 2-card soft lock that stops your opponents from producing mana with creatures and lands, allowing only for artifacts to produce mana. But all 5 decks are also playing Collector Oof to stop activated abilities of artifacts, in the same vein as Linvala. These 3 pieces together completely lock out your opponent's ability to cast spells, making you the only one able to cast spells with a mana value above 0, outside of very specific cases with a Spirit Guide or a Planeswalker with an ability that produces mana. Sisay, Kodama Timna, and Kenrith all take this a step further and include Elesh Norn as another soft lock with Living Plane. The goal with these 2 in play is to have Elesh Norn destroy all of your opponent's lands by giving them -2/-2 when Living Plane turns them into 1/1 creatures. There's also some unexplored territory in having redundancy of Living Plane effects like Nature's Revolt that can perform the same locks with Linvala or Elesh Norn. Thus far, Living Plane has only seen play alongside Linvala and Elesh Norn as part of a 2-card soft lock to prevent your opponents from producing mana. There may be a lot of unexplored options with Living Plane that could branch it out to see more play. Cards like Karavek the Spiteful, Toxrill the Corrosive, and Knight of Soul's Betrayal can perform similar functions to Elesh Norn, albeit Karavek and Knight of Soul's Betrayal are symmetrical effects, so they destroy your own lands as well. Fire Covenant allows for a one-time land destruction that can destroy all of your opponent's lands without touching your own. And Curse Totem also stops activated abilities of creatures, but just like Karavek and Knight of Soul's Betrayal, it is symmetrical so it stops your lands as well. Cards that trigger off activated abilities also have some upside with Living Plane, like Verity Circle, that will allow you to draw cards every time an opponent taps a land. If you want to play Living Plane and explore interactions with cards like Curse Totem and Verity Circle, you may want to pair them with specific commanders that care about the lands entering play, like Tatyova Benthic Druid or ISC Tyrant of Gyre Strait. That is just my suggestion, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who know a lot more about Magic than I, who will figure out new ways to play the card. If you have any cards you think would pair well with Living Plane, or if you have any suggestions on other cards I should make videos for, let me know in the comments below.